So what if I told you that the most valuable technical skill to have in 2026 isn't, knowing how to code, but actually knowing how to talk?
I mean, it sounds a little counterintuitive at first.
Right. But just think about it for a second. Like, imagine you walk into a really high-end commercial kitchen. The first thing that hits you is just the gleam of all the equipment. You see these massive six-burner industrial stoves, those precise sous vide machines, titanium immersion
Oh,
blenders.
yeah, the really intimidating gear,
Exactly. And it's so easy to look at that setup and think, wow, if I just had that kitchen, I could easily cook a Michelin star meal.
which is such a common trap, right?
Yeah.
Like, you equate having the professional tools with having the actual talent.
Exactly. Because, I mean, if you actually put me in that kitchen with all those state-of-the-art gadgets, I'm probably still going to burn a grilled cheese sandwich.
Yeah, the gear doesn't save you.
No, the magic isn't in the stainless steel, it's in the chef. It's knowing exactly, how much salt to add or when to pull a stick off the heat, how to balance an acidic sauce. The tools don't replace the chef's palate, they just give the chef incredible leverage.
That is a perfect way to look at it.
And that realization brings us to the core of today's deep dive. So welcome. Today we are mapping out the 2026 Digital Economy Toolkit specifically for you. Our mission here is to show you exactly how anyone, literally regardless of whether you know how to write a single line of code, can leverage the absolute latest digital tools to build a thriving independent career.
And we have an incredibly rich stack of sources guiding us today. I mean, we're pulling insights from recent masterclasses by digital entrepreneurs like Onyx Single and the Easy Commerce team.
Which are fantastic, by the way.
So good. And we're also deep diving into local marketing and financial frameworks from Delenzo Studio, Search Opal, and Remire. Plus, we're looking at audience data from a 2025 Buzzsprout guide, and there's this really fascinating academic study from the Journal of Political Stability archive. So yeah, we've got a lot of ground to cover.
It really is a goldmine because the rules of freelancing and just content creation in general have completely flipped over the last few years. The barriers to entry have practically vanished.
They really have.
Whether you want to build a software application or produce a high-quality audio show or, get paid by clients on the literal other side of the globe, the technology is there. And honestly, much of it is completely free.
Right, but the mindset required to actually succeed with all this technology, that is entirely new. You no longer get paid for just knowing how to operate the machinery. You get paid for what you can creatively direct that machinery to do.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because to really understand this new mindset, we have to look at the bedrock of the 2026 digital economy, which is artificial intelligence. Yeah. And according to Onyx Single's masterclass in our sources, we have officially transitioned out of the helper era and firmly into the autopilot era.
And that distinction is incredibly important for anyone trying to build an independent career right now. Like, think back to 2023 or 2024. That was the helper era.
Yeah, the early days.
Right. AI was essentially like having this eager, but maybe slightly clueless intern. You had to babysit it through every single step.
Oh, totally.
You'd ask it to write an email, you'd wait for it to finish, then you'd manually copy it, open your email client, paste it, hit send, and then manually set a reminder in your own calendar to follow up. It just required constant human hand-holding.
Right. I mean, it was helpful, but it didn't really take the task completely off your plate. But now, here in 2026, we're in the autopilot era.
Exactly.
AI can handle entire workflows from start to finish. You can basically just say, hey, run my email outreach campaign. And the AI drafts the emails, sends them out, tracks who opened them, replies to the common questions, and literally books the meetings directly onto your calendar.
Precisely. And because of this, the fundamental division of labor between humans and computers has completely changed. Our sources describe this new framework where AI handles the middle layer of work.
The middle layer.
Yeah, the middle layer is the heavy, repetitive lifting. It's the data entry, the rough first drafts, the basic coding, the volume creation.
Which leaves the top and bottom layers of the work entirely to the human.
Right.
The top layer is the big picture strategy, taking a massive ambiguous problem and breaking it down into a logical plan. And then the bottom layer is the quality control, the final polish, and the actual human-to-human client communication.
Exactly. And the sources organize the skills needed for those human layers into what they call the EPOC framework. That's EPOC. Empathy, presence, opinion, and creativity.
I love that acronym.
It works so well because these are the inherently human elements. Like, an algorithm can process millions of data points in a second, but it doesn't have an opinion. It doesn't have empathy for a frustrated client.
It's kind of like making a sandwich, right? The modern freelancer's skill set is literally a sandwich. The AI is the heavy, repetitive filling right in the middle, but the human provides the artisanal bread holding it all together. The big picture strategy on top and the final polish on the bottom.
That is a great analogy.
But okay, I have to push back here for a second.
Sure.
If the machinery is that easy to use, and if AI can do all that heavy lifting, like writing a blog post in 30 seconds or designing a logo in 10, well, businesses just use the AI themselves, like, why would a company hire a freelancer at all?
It's a great question, and honestly, it's the number one fear people have right now. But the answer comes down to a concept our sources refer to as taste.
Taste, like the chef.
Exactly like the chef. You see, AI is fantastic at generating volume. It can give a business owner 50 different variations of a Facebook ad in about a minute. But the AI lacks contextual human taste. It doesn't know that the client's specific local audience, culturally, hates the color red, or that a certain aggressive tone of voice completely alienated their buyers last year. Only a human with taste, someone with deep, nuanced industry knowledge and empathy, knows which one of those 50 variations will actually convert.
Ah, I see. So businesses are absolutely drowning in options and content. They don't want to hire someone to just give them more content. They want to hire someone to give them actual results.
Exactly. You don't sell a business owner a guarantee of 30 social media posts a month anymore. I mean, they can get that from AI for free. You sell them the guarantee of 5 new customers this month. You use the AI to generate the materials quickly, but you use your human taste to curate, refine, and strategically deploy them.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting because the way people are applying this taste in the real world doesn't require a computer science degree anymore.
Not at all.
Yeah, according to our sources at SearchOpal and Easy Commerce, you can build incredibly complex, high-earning services using tools that are 90% free and require zero coding.
And what's fascinating here is how quickly the misconception that AI is only for programmers has just completely died out. The new wave of high-earning freelancers are essentially digital architects. They just snap together these pre-built AI tools to solve very specific niche problems.
Let's actually look at how these tools work because it's kind of mind-blowing. First, the sources talk about GPT wrappers. Now, I used to think this sounded so technical, but it's conceptually very simple.
It really is.
It's basically when you take a standard AI model like ChatGPT or Claude and you wrap it in your own hyper-specific interface, like putting a customized, user-friendly dashboard over the raw engine of an AI.
Right. The user doesn't see all the complex behind-the-scenes prompting. They just see a simple tool that solves their exact problem.
And our sources give this incredible example. This 18-year-old built an app that estimates calories just from a photo of your food. You just snap a picture of your lunch and it tells you the macros.
Which is wild.
It hit 8 million downloads, and it's projected to make $30 million. But here's the secret. He didn't invent the visual recognition AI. He just built a wrapper around existing AI technology to serve the specific niche of fitness tracking.
Exactly. The value wasn't in coding the underlying intelligence. The value was in the specific application. And then you have this other concept called vibe coding, which is just completely disrupting software development.
Vibe coding, I love the name.
Right. Using platforms like Cursor or Lovable, you can build entire websites, mobile apps, or SaaS products simply by typing plain English prompts.
Wait, so how does that actually work mechanically? Like, you don't write any code at all?
You really don't. You write the logic in natural language. You essentially just have a conversation with the platform. You type, hey, I want a blue button here, and when a user clicks it, it should collect their email and send them a welcome message. And the AI just interprets your English, translates it into software structure, and writes the underlying code for you instantly. You're acting as the director, making all the creative decisions, while the AI acts as your junior programmer executing the vision.
That is wild. And speaking of executing workflows, the sources also highlight AI agents and automation. Using no-code platforms like N8N or local solutions like the Wattbot, you can automate entire business processes.
Look, it's huge for scaling.
Yeah, and again, the mechanism here is so visual. You don't write API scripts. You literally drag a box on your screen that says Shopify order, and you draw a visual line to another box that says WhatsApp message.
Just like a flowchart.
Exactly. So when a customer buys something, the AI agent automatically messages them on WhatsApp to confirm the order, and then naturally answers any questions they have about shipping 24/7. It's like drawing on a whiteboard, but it creates a real functioning software bridge.
And we can't ignore media creation either. AI video ads are a massive opportunity right now. You can create highly converting video ads featuring AI avatars, which are essentially photorealistic digital actors, and they can speak in any language.
So no cameras needed.
None. You don't need a camera, you don't need to rent a studio, you don't need lighting. And with voice AI, using platforms like 11 Labs, creators are legally cloning voices to produce entire audiobooks or real-time translations.
Oh.
11 Labs alone has paid out over $5 million to voice creators who just license their vocal likeness.
The leverage there is just incredible. But this brings up a really logical problem, I think. Okay, so you have these amazing AI skills. You can build visual automations, you can generate avatar video ads, you can create wrappers.
Right.
But if anyone can theoretically do this, how do you actually convince a high-paying client to trust you? How do you build authority in your specific niche so they know you have that crucial taste we talked about?
It's the million-dollar question.
Right. Well, according to our sources, the answer lies in one of the oldest digital formats around, long-form audio, specifically podcasting.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, it makes perfect sense. We are living in a digital environment completely flooded with AI-generated text and quick, flashy, heavily edited videos.
Oh, totally. Just endless scrolling.
Exactly. So in contrast, the human voice remains deeply intimate, unpolished, and authentic. When a client hears you speak thoughtfully about their industry for 40 minutes, it builds trust in a way a slick, AI-generated blog post simply never could.
I hear that, but I have to ask. In a world of 15-second TikToks and just vanishing attention spans, does anyone actually have the patience to sit through a 40-minute audio show? I mean, isn't the podcast market totally saturated?
That is the most common fear people have before launching a show. But the data tells a completely different story. Look at the 2025 study from the Journal of Political Stability Archive that's in our stack.
Yeah, that was a fascinating read.
Right. They surveyed 400 university students in Pakistan to understand their media consumption habits. And they found that the vast majority are listening to podcasts 2 to 3 times a week, primarily on smartphones via Spotify and YouTube.
2 to 3 times a week, that's a massive time commitment. What are they even looking for?
Their main motivation is educational content. The study actually found a strong positive correlation between how often they listen and their intent to learn. They're actively seeking out deep educational material.
That makes sense, actually. I mean, you can't learn how to build a multi-platform AI workflow from a 15-second dancing video.
No, you really can't.
You need the time to actually digest the concepts, but how do they find the time?
Well, the study identified the main barriers as time constraints and internet data limits. Audio solves the time constraint beautifully through the mechanism of multitasking.
Of course.
You cannot watch a visual video while driving a car or washing the dishes, but you can easily consume a 40-minute audio deep dive. Plus, to address your point about saturation, the goal of a business podcast isn't to reach millions of random people.
Right.
It's about reaching a highly targeted niche. You don't make a generic podcast about nutrition. You make a hyper-specific show about nutrition for diabetics. That narrow focus builds incredible, lucrative loyalty with the exact clients you want to reach.
Okay, so podcasting is kind of the ultimate vehicle to prove your taste and build authority. Let's break down the actual mechanics of launching one because our sources from Buzzsprout and Delenzo Studio give us a very clear blueprint. And thankfully, it doesn't require taking out a second mortgage for gear.
Exactly. Let's start with hardware, because this is where beginners make their first really expensive mistake. They think they need a highly sensitive, expensive condenser microphone, because, that's what professional singers use.
Right, but unless you are in a perfectly soundproof professional studio, a condenser mic is a total nightmare.
Oh, a complete nightmare.
The mechanism behind a condenser mic uses a highly sensitive plate that picks up literally everything. It will pick up the dog barking 3 streets over, the hum of your refrigerator, the air conditioning vent.
Which is why the sources explicitly recommend an affordable dynamic microphone. A dynamic mic uses a heavier physical coil mechanism that naturally rejects background noise. It only captures what is directly in front of it.
Which is exactly what you want.
Yeah. The Samsung Q2U is a great example. It's around $70, plugs right into your computer via USB, and it's basically the ultimate hack for recording clean audio in a normal, untreated bedroom or office.
And once you capture that clean audio, you need software. You don't need to pay for high-end digital audio workstations right away. Free tools like Audacity or GarageBand are incredibly powerful. And if you're recording remote interviews, there is a hard rule: never use Skype or Zoom for the final audio.
Yes, please don't.
Oh.
Because of how they process data, Skype and standard conferencing tools heavily compress your audio. They basically squash the audio quality to prioritize real-time speed so your call doesn't lag.
Makes sense for a meeting, terrible for a show.
Exactly. Instead, you should use dedicated platforms like Riverside.fm or Squadcast. These tools record high-quality, uncompressed audio locally on each person's individual computer and then sync it up in the cloud afterward.
And when it comes to editing that audio, the sources give us a golden rule. Edit for content first, then for distractions.
Such good advice.
Yeah, take out the boring, rambling parts of the conversation before you spend hours removing every little, and structurally, make sure you use fade-ins and fade-outs between your audio clips.
Oh, the fades are crucial.
If you just chop an audio file abruptly, it cuts the sound waveform mid-cycle, which creates this harsh popping click in the listener's ear. Fades just smooth that waveform out to zero. Oh, and a crucial legal warning from the sources: never use uncleared commercial music.
Yeah, do not risk it.
Your show will get flagged and pulled down immediately. Use royalty-free libraries like Storyblocks instead.
We also have to consider the visual branding. Your cover art is your first impression, and Apple Podcasts kind of sets the industry standard here. The technical requirement is a 3,000 by 3,000 pixel square.
Which seems massive. Why so large?
Because it needs to look crisp on a 4K monitor, but it also has to scale down cleanly to a tiny thumbnail on a smartphone screen. Strategically, you should use fewer than 4 words on the cover so it remains readable when it's shrunk down. And please, avoid putting a picture of a microphone or headphones on the cover art.
Yeah, it's so cliche.
It really is. People browsing a podcast app already know it's an audio show. You don't need to visually explain the medium to them.
Also, make sure you are using SEO search engine optimization in your episode titles and show notes. If your show is about digital marketing in Pakistan, make sure words like podcast marketing strategies are actually in the text so search algorithms can index and surface your show to new listeners.
Good point.
Now, when it comes to actually releasing the show to the world, I love the strategy outlined in the sources. They compare a grand opening to a soft open. And to me, a soft open for a podcast is exactly like a restaurant having a soft launch for just close friends and family.
It's a brilliant way to relieve the pressure of launching.
Right. You publish your first few episodes quietly. You don't blast it all over social media. It lets you overcome that initial imposter syndrome, figure out your microphone technique, and just fix the menu, so to speak, before the harsh food critics arrive.
And once you do start marketing it, consistency becomes your most valuable asset. When you look at the data Buzzsprout pulled for 2025, there's a really clear behavioral pattern. The sweet spot for episode length is between 20 to 40 minutes, which applies to about 31% of successful shows.
Okay.
Furthermore, 39% of podcasters release an episode every 8 to 14 days, so you don't have to publish daily. Hitting publish about every week and a half is how you build a predictable habit for your listener without burning yourself out.
Okay, so let's follow the logical progression here. You've mastered the AI tools. You're using visual node automations and vibe coding to deliver incredible value. You've launched a niche podcast, positioned yourself as an authority with incredible taste, and now clients in New York or London are eager to hire you.
Sounds like a dream scenario.
It is. But if you are participating in the global market, especially from a massive freelance hub like Pakistan, which the Ramir source notes is a $3.9 billion freelance export market, you hit the final practical hurdle.
Getting paid.
Getting paid. Your client in New York wants to pay you $2,000. Why can't they just PayPal you if you're sitting in Lahore?
Well, this is exactly where many independent workers lose hundreds of dollars to hidden fees, simply because they don't understand the global financial infrastructure. To answer your question about PayPal, it is ubiquitous in the US and Europe, but it simply does not operate in Pakistan due to specific regulatory frameworks and compliance requirements set by the State Bank of Pakistan. The landscape is just heavily regulated.
So what does this all mean? Like, why is this financial landscape so fractured? And literally, what are the actual alternatives to get that $2,000 into your local bank account?
This raises an important question about how modern independent workers need to view themselves. But let's look at the actual frameworks the sources provide first, because you have to choose your gateway based on your specific client type.
All right.
First is Payoneer. This is currently the industry standard for platform workers. About 65% of Pakistani freelancers use it because it integrates seamlessly with huge marketplaces like Upwork and Fiverr.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
It's highly reliable, but it comes with significant costs. Usually a 2% flat withdrawal fee, plus an invisible markup on the currency exchange rate that can be up to another 2%.
That adds up fast, especially on bigger projects. Then you have emerging platforms mentioned in the sources, like Elevate Pay, which are aiming specifically to solve this problem for the region. They boast much lower fees, around 1 to 1.5% for withdrawals, and offer fast, direct transfers to local banks.
Yeah, but because it's newer, it has fewer direct integrations with those big freelance marketplaces.
Fair point.
Now, if you have direct established clients in the US or Europe, meaning you aren't going through the change way, Upwork-Wise is often the best option. Wise is unique because it offers the real mid-market exchange rate.
Can you explain what that mid-market rate actually means for the freelancer?
Sure, the mid-market rate is the actual wholesale exchange rate that big banks use when they trade money with each other.
Okay.
Normally, when a consumer uses a standard bank or PayPal to convert dollars to rupees, the bank uses a much worse retail exchange rate, and they just pocket the difference. It's basically an invisible tax.
Yeah.
Wise gives you the wholesale rate, meaning you lose the least amount of money in the currency conversion.
What about traditional bank wire transfers, or even crypto?
Traditional bank wires are generally just too expensive for everyday transactions.
Yeah.
The sources note they carry a 5 to 8% total cost.
Oh.
Yeah. The mechanism there is that a wire often has to bounce through multiple intermediary banks across the globe, and each bank takes a cut of the money as a fee. Wires are really only recommended for large projects over $5,000, where those flat fees become a negligible percentage.
And crypto?
As for crypto, using stablecoins like USDT or USDC is incredibly fast and has very low transfer fees, but it comes with high volatility and significant regulatory risks depending on your local laws.
So the big takeaway here is what the sources call a total cost analysis. You can't just look at the advertised fee to receive the money. You have to add up the receiving fee plus the withdrawal fee to your local bank, plus that invisible markup on the exchange rate.
Exactly. And returning to that question of what this all means, you aren't just a creator or a coder anymore. You are an international micro business.
Right.
You have to navigate tax reporting, like the FBR in Pakistan, and you have to run your operations efficiently. Picking the right combination of payment platforms isn't just an administrative chore. The sources actually note that optimizing this stack can literally save you 30 to 40% in transaction costs over the year.
That is massive. That is the literal difference between just scraping by and building real sustainable wealth.
It really is.
So to wrap this all up for you listening right now, the digital economy in 2026 isn't about working longer, harder hours. It is entirely about leverage. AI gives you the leverage to do the work of 10 people in a fraction of the time.
Yep.
Podcasting gives you the leverage to broadcast your taste and reach a dedicated global audience while you sleep. And optimized payment gateways give you the leverage to actually keep the money you earn.
We've spent the last 20 minutes unpacking all the tools to build an independent career. But I want to leave you with this final thought. As AI continues to handle more and more of the actual doing the coding, the writing, the generating, what happens when the primary skill of the future human worker isn't technical ability at all? What if your ultimate value is simply the depth of your curiosity, your taste, and your capacity to empathetically connect with another person's problem?
That's a powerful way to look at it.
The tools in this toolkit are entirely artificial, but your true competitive advantage is entirely human.
You can buy the fanciest industrial stove in the world, but at the end of the day, you still have to know how to cook. Keep tasting, keep creating. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.